The business news headlines is brought to you by QMX Wealth Management, making more possible. Inflation pressures, economic reforms, and Wall Street surges. Hello and welcome to CBX Business News for Friday, August 15, 2025. I'm Yanil Wood. Thanks for joining us. Coming up in the newscast locally, Jamaica's Consumer Price Index for July rises 0.3% as food and petrol prices push inflation higher. On the regional front, Guyana's PPPC outlines growth-focused economic vision ahead of manifesto launch. And over on the global stage, United Health stock soars on billionaire backing, posts largest one-day jump in 5 years. Stay tuned as we unpack these stories and more right after this break.
I'm Marlene Street Forrest, Managing Director of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. You're watching Caribbean Business Exchange. Your region, your business, your source.
Has so much book you need for high school?
I'll show you how to make sure you have all the money for my books and even some extra. It's called budgeting, Dad. Making a budget is the most important thing you can do to track your money. It keeps a record of how much you make, how much you spend, where you spend it, and most importantly, how much you can save. Write down all your income, write down all your expenses, see where you can cut down and allot more money to more important things, like saving.
Let's all get fit. This summer's a drip. Hip dips and split. Power in the mind, let's get healthy with it. Sometimes your body's so hard, but your body wants it. And then your head is so home, and it's so like this. So we gotta go 1, 2, 3. One more now. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. One more now. 1, 2, 3. One more now. 1, 2, 3, go. It's feeling so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It's feeling so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It's feeling so good right now. Don't never, ever wanna calm down. Oh, no.
We're here to open a savings account for my son John. I really want him to start saving and managing his own money.
And I need for Safe to visit my father in New York.
Okay, based on what you said and our risk assessment, he will qualify for simplified customer due diligence requirements. I'll need your ID, proof of income, TRN, and John's ID as well.
Okay, here you go.
Opening an account is easier than you think using simplified customer due diligence requirements, also called CDD.
Me grew up and see my granny and save her money under her mattress.
Exactly. Your grandmother house never burned down?
No, how you reach that, so? That was a one-off thing.
That could have happened to anybody. That's why you must put your money in a financial institution and protect it.
What if the bank crash?
Well, that's where JDIC comes in.
What you mean?
JDIC is a financial safety net which provides coverage for your money in case your financial institution fails.
Explain that to me.
Alright, because of the JDIC deposit insurance scheme, once you put your money into a financial institution like a bank or building society, you can get coverage of up to a maximum of $1.2 million per deposit of your financial institution if it should fail. And for even more information, you can visit their new website at www.jdic.org, and you can follow the social media platforms for the latest information.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
The local news is brought to you by Darriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments. Welcome back to CBX Business News. We begin with news just in from the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, StatIn. The All Jamaica Consumer Price Index CPI for July rose by 0.3%, moving from 141.5 in June to 142. StatIn reports that the main driver of this increase was a 0.9% rise in the food and non-alcoholic beverages division. Within this category, the food group rose 0.9%, while non-alcoholic beverages increased by 0.4%. The increase in the food group was largely due to a 2.9% jump in the class covering vegetables, tubers, plantains, cooking bananas, and pulses. Prices for cabbage, sweet pepper, tomato, and yam went up, partly offset by lower prices for carrot, plantain, and sweet potatoes. Inflation was also influenced by a 0.4% rise in the transport division, mainly driven by a 1.4% increase in the operation of personal transport equipment, reflecting higher petrol prices. Jamaica's push into the luxury tourism market is accelerating, with Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett promising a policy that ensures local communities benefit directly from new developments. Minister Bartlett made the disclosure at a ceremony celebrating the completion of Phase 1 of the Vista Montego Bay Resort and the groundbreaking for Phase 2. The U.S. $100 million project will deliver 468 rooms across 3 towers, plus restaurants, retail shops, and other amenities. According to the minister, over U.S. $3.5 billion in premium investments have broken ground in the last 3 months, with 2 more mega-billion-dollar deals in final negotiations. One of these will be in Paradise, Westmoreland, and is expected to become Jamaica's most luxurious resort. Minister Bartlett also revealed that brand names will be announced soon, with contracts almost complete. Minister Bartlett described this development as the new Jamaica, creating higher-paying jobs and boosting demand for local goods and services. A new local-first policy will require investors and visitors to partner with Jamaican communities. Turning to financial news. For the 3 months ended June 30, 2025, the separate group is reporting revenues of $37.48 billion, up $7.74 billion or 26% when compared to the same period last year. According to the company's unaudited financial statements for the second quarter, this growth was primarily driven by the full-year consolidation of Caribbean Producers Jamaica Limited (CPJ), acquired in July last year. Gross profit rose 36% to $10.13 billion, an increase of $2.7 billion over the last year, reflecting stronger margins from product mix and the full integration of CPJ. However, net profit for the quarter was $592 million, down 37% or $350 million compared to the same quarter in 2024. The decline was due to higher operating costs from acquisition integration and increased finance charges. For the first 6 months of 2025, separate revenues reached $72.18 billion, up 29% from 2024, with gross profit climbing 35% to $20.21 billion. Net profit for the year to date fell 33% to $1.44 billion. Meanwhile, total assets stood at $137.08 billion, up 30% from $105.27 billion in June 2024, while shareholders' equity was $47.47 billion. Earnings per share dropped to $1.25 from $2.40 last year. Looking now at Dollar Financial Services Limited. The company is reporting record revenue growth of more than 30% alongside a robust loan portfolio that has surged nearly 50% for the 6 months ended June 30. Speaking during the company's second quarter earnings call on Thursday, CEO Kenroy Carr provided a detailed breakdown of Dollar's performance for the period.
First half of the year ended just shy of $1 billion. We're really proud of this milestone in terms of revenue growth, which is a record for us for a 6-month period, and it actually represents a 34% increase year over year. So we're seeing solid growth in our top line. Our profit before tax ended at $252 million for the 6 months ended June. While this represents a 17% decline year over year, we would have seen an 8% growth quarter over quarter, and this also means that we have delivered 4 consecutive quarters of growth.
He explained the company's decline in profit before tax.
Our profit before tax, of course, again, is a decline year over year, and this is mainly due to some higher loan provisions that we've had to do, as well as some loan write-off of bad debt due to these really stemmed from some external fraudulent activities that involves our loan collateral, and this issue would have affected a small portion of our portfolio. Now, while we can't share all the details yet because there are still investigations ongoing, I can assure our shareholders and the general public that we have acted swiftly by conducting a full review of our portfolio, including some detailed root cause analysis, and more importantly, we have strengthened our internal controls. We've updated our credit models to further reduce the risk involved and to just protect our shareholder value.
Mr. Carr added that the company has implemented measures to return to normalized profitability and ensure renewed growth in the second half of the financial year. For the period under review, Dollar's loan portfolio exceeded $4 billion.
So we ended Q2 with a strong loan growth portfolio, of strong growth in our loan portfolio. The loan portfolio would have increased by about 49% year over year to $4.5 billion. And of course, all of this growth would have been driven, it's organically driven growth, and a lot of the fruits that we're seeing from some of the product enhancement that we've done over the last several months.
CEO of Dollar Financials, Kenroy Carr. In the meantime, shareholders' equity grew by 17% to $1,346,461,000, up from $1,155,507,000, while earnings per share (EPS) declined by 16.7% from 6 cents to 5 cents. We go now to foreign currency trading news. At the end of Friday's currency trading, the US dollar is selling for $161.38, the Canadian for $118.72, and the pound sterling for $218.52. The going rate for the euro is $190.59. Next, to trading news from the Jamaica Stock Exchange. 105 stocks traded on the JSE Friday, of which 41 advanced, 42 declined, and 22 traded firm. Leading the winners were One Great Studio Company, Cygnus Credit Investments US dollar, ordinary shares, Jamaica Public Service Company 7%, and JFP Limited. While leading the losers were Margaritaville Turks, Mayberry Jamaican Equities, Jetcon Corporation, and Epley Limited. Now the main index advanced by 1,932.62 points, or 0.62%, to close at 314,199.59. The junior market index, however, suffered a decline by 12.73 points, or 0.37%, to close at 3,419.70. And it's time for our market education feature, brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standard. In our market education feature today, we'll be defining the term tax shelter. A tax shelter is a strategy or financial arrangement used to reduce taxable income and lower tax obligations. Tax shelters can be legal, such as investments with tax advantages or deductions, or illegal, when used to evade taxes unlawfully. The government offers several tax shelters to help reduce the tax burden on taxpayers. One common type is tax deductions, which allow individuals to subtract specific amounts from their total taxable income. The market education feature was brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standards. That's it for market education feature and the end of the local segment. Please stay with us. The regional business news is up next. The local news is brought to you by Derriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments. Welcome back, and now for the regional business news. Continuing on the campaign trail in Guyana, as the People's Progressive Party, Civic PPPC, prepares to launch its manifesto next week, the party's General Secretary Dr. Bart Jagdeo says the document will outline the party's vision for economic diversification, job creation, and wealth generation if re-elected for another term. Speaking to the press on Thursday, Dr. Jagdeo says the strategy will include a framework designed to attract investment, empower small businesses, and stimulate growth across multiple sectors beyond the traditional oil and gas economy.
In the first part of our manifesto, our plans for the future, you're going to see a strong emphasis on growth, supporting growth, job creation, and opportunities. And what are the policies we're going to put in place to support the creation of more jobs, getting more investments in place, getting people to start small businesses, getting more, what are the appropriate policies we're going to, or the enabling policies we're going to put in place.
Dr. Jagdeo says his administration will be positioning key growth poles as engines for creating thousands of high-quality jobs.
We need a diversified economy, not to rely only on oil and gas. We have laid out the growth poles that we want to support already, from mining to agriculture, to tourism, to logistics support, ICT development, a whole range of industries that will create the jobs of the future. Now you will see what are the enabling policies and initiatives that we will put in place to support those industries, because we believe Guyanese must invest more of their money. They need to start businesses and on their own, and if they do so, they can create the objective, which is what we want, of a diversified economy, but at the same time generate thousands of good-paying jobs and income for themselves.
General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Dr. Bharat Jagdeo. We turn now to the Bahamas, where the insurance industry is on high alert amid the threat from a major weather system. Bahamian insurers are closely tracking what now is Hurricane Erin, the first hurricane of the 2025 Atlantic season, as it strengthens in the central Atlantic. The system, upgraded to a Category 1 hurricane today, brings with it sustained winds of 75 miles per hour, and as at news time, is located about 460 miles east of the northern Leeward Islands and is moving west-northwest at 18 miles per hour. In a recent report, CEO of Summit Insurance Company, Timothy Ingram, says insurers are keeping a very close eye on the track and intensity of this storm and are hopeful that it will make that northward turn before getting into their area. Ingraham noted that global catastrophe losses in the first half of 2025 were near historic highs, keeping reinsurance rates elevated in the region. Forecast models predict Erin could strengthen further over the weekend, potentially reaching Category 3 or 4 by Sunday, August 17. While current projections suggest the hurricane will pass north of the Leeward Islands, Puerto Rico, and northeast of the Bahamas, meteorologists caution that the storm's path could still shift. Consequently, analysts warn that another major Atlantic weather system could drive reinsurance rates even higher for 2025 renewals, increasing costs for local insurers and ultimately policyholders. In other news, Unilever Caribbean Limited UCL posted a profit after tax of $25.1 million for the first half of 2025, an increase of 80.8% or $11.2 million compared to the same period in 2024. The second quarter contributed $8.9 million, up 13.1% year-on-year. Revenue for the 6 months ending June 30 reached $136.8 million, a 13.6% increase over 2024, driven by the implementation of a new local distribution model, which included the sale of warehouse stock and closure of the warehouse. Operating profit before restructuring costs stood at $12.9 million for quarter 2, bringing the year-to-date total to $36.6 million. The company recently sold its ice cream business effective July 1, part of a strategy to focus on core categories driving sustainable growth. The beauty and personal care division led performance, accounting for 54.9% of turnover, with growth across Dove, Vaseline, Degree, Tresemme, and Axe. The home care segment faced challenges, particularly in powdered detergents, while the foods category remained stable at 8.8% of revenue. Earnings per share rose to 96 cents from 53 cents last year, reflecting improved profitability. In light of strong quarter 2 results, UCL's board approved a second interim dividend of 15 cents per share, bringing the year-to-date dividend to 31 cents per share, a 121% increase over last year. The dividend will be paid on September 16 this year. Now to trading news from the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. 19 securities traded on the TTSE Friday, of which 4 advanced, 7 declined, and 8 traded firm. The winners were Unilever Caribbean, Pointless Industrial Port Development, First Citizens Group Financial Holdings, and National Enterprises. While leading the losers were One Caribbean Media, Angostura Holdings, Massey Holdings, and JMMB Group. Other results include the All TNT Index declining by 2.40 to close at 1,467.06. The Composite Index declining by 1.45 to close at 1,017.44. And the Cross-Listed Index also declined, but by 0.06 to close at 75.10. And still remaining at 96.44 is the SME Index. And we take a short break, but please do stay with us. The international news segment with Nielsen Rose is up next.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. In the international news today, U.S. consumer sentiment fell for the first time in 4 months, with the University of Michigan's index dropping to 58.6 in August, moving from 61.7 in July, and missing market expectations of 62. The decline reflects rising inflation concerns and worsening conditions for purchasing durable goods, despite a slight uptick in expectations for future personal finances. The current conditions index fell sharply to 60.9 from 68, while the expectations gauge dropped to 57.2 from 61.7. Inflation expectations surged, with year-ahead forecasts rising to 4.9%, moving from 4.5%, and five-year expectations climbing to 3.9 from 3.4. The increase ends a multi-month trend of easing inflation outlooks, though both measures remain below their spring breaks. Economists warn that persistent inflation and labor market uncertainty could weigh on consumer confidence heading into the fall. Shares of United Health Group surged this week, posting their largest single-day gain in 5 years after a trio of high-profile investors revealed major stakes in the embattled health insurance giant. Leading the charge was Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, which disclosed a 5 million share position valued at approximately $1.6 billion. The move sent shockwaves through Wall Street, signaling renewed confidence in United Health despite recent challenges tied to regulatory scrutiny and rising medical costs. Buffett's endorsement was echoed by other heavyweight investors. Michael Burry, famed for his persistent bets during the 2008 financial crisis and dramatized in The Big Short, also unveiled a significant stake in the company. Meanwhile, David Tepper's Appaloosa management joined in the bullish chorus, adding further momentum to the stock's rally. The coordinated interest from such influential figures has sparked speculation that United Health may be poised for a strategic turnaround. Analysts suggest the company's long-term fundamentals remain strong, and the influx of institutional capital could stabilize investor sentiment. United Health's shares closed up sharply, with trading volumes spiking well above average. Market watchers are also now closely monitoring whether this surge marks the beginning of a broader recovery in the healthcare sector, which has lagged behind for other industries in recent months. China's industrial production rose 5.7% year-on-year in July, easing from June's 6.8% and missing the projections of a 5.9%. The slowdown marks the softest growth since November 2024, driven by capacity constraints from extreme heat and heavy rainfall across several regions. Manufacturing output moderated to 6.2% from 7.4%. While mining activity slowed to 5% from 6.1%. Production, including electricity, heat, gas, and water, accelerated to 3.3%, up from 1.8%. Despite the overall deceleration, 35 of 41 major manufacturing sectors posted gains. Notable performers included automotive, up 8.5%, computer and communications, up 10.2%, railway and shipbuilding, up 13.7%, chemical products 7.2%, non-ferrous metals 6.8%, food manufacturing at 5.6%, and oil and gas 4.1%, while heat production was at 3.4%. On a monthly basis, industrial output edged up 0.38%, while cumulative growth for the first 7 months of 2025 reached 6.3%. Canada's wholesales rose 0.7% to 84.7 billion Canadian dollars in June, rebounding from a flat performance in May. The increase was driven by gains in 4 of 7 subsectors, which together accounted for 54.2% of total trade. Leading the growth were food, beverage, and tobacco, 1.7% to 15.6 billion. Miscellaneous goods came in at 2.4, moving to 10.7 billion. Despite the uptick, the Canada-US trade tension cast a shadow over the sector, with 33.6% of wholesalers reporting impacts. All subsectors felt the strain, but machinery, equipment, all subsectors felt the strain, but machinery, equipment, and supplies were hit the hardest, citing price hikes and shifting demand. Compared to a year earlier, wholesale sales were up 3.2%, while volume-based sales rose 0.6% in June, signaling steady underlying demand despite external pressures. And those were your international business stories. After the break, join Neil for your recap.
Welcome back, and now to recap our top stories. In the local news, Jamaica's July CPI rises 0.3%. Food and petrol prices push inflation higher. Regionally, Ghana's PPPC outlines growth-focused economic vision. And on the international scene, United Health stock soars on billionaires' backing. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of Nielsen Rose and the entire production team, I'm Yanil Wood, wishing for you a wonderful weekend. Please stay dry and safe, and thanks for watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.